It is Saturday, and government employees are receiving an email from hr@opm.gov. Let me show you. As a federal employee, I just want to remind everybody that I do not report to OPM. I report to my supervisor, who reports to their supervisor, who reports to our HR, who reports to a lot of other people, but I do not report to OPM.
You want to get fired.
As you can see, it says, please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Please do not send any classified information.
Yep.
Deadline is this Monday at 11:59 p.m. Alonia also tweeted and said that if we don't respond by the deadline, that it will count as our resignation. But the deadline said this coming Monday. It didn't even have a date listed. They keep sending these emails on Saturdays and then saying that we miss the emails because we're lazy. But I don't think that these people understand that government employees get paid to take home their laptop and work on the weekends. So that would be more taxpayer dollars going to waste. Nowhere in this email does it state that I will be terminated if I miss this deadline. Nowhere in this email does it state that I even have to open the email. So I will be reporting this email as phishing until my manager tells me otherwise.
Oh, you're fired.
These people seem to think that they can operate outside of the law, outside of employment law, outside of just judiciary processes. So yeah, I don't know. Join your union, organize, talk to people in real life, find people that have similar values to you.
So basically, he sent out, well, I can just pull up the tweet. Before we pull that up, Pelosi had a project, a whole building that cost taxpayers $144 million.
Damn.
But it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse today. Oh,
what they do in that building?
Oh, it
could be a
nothing.
federal building.
It could be nothing. Like, it's literal buildings that taxpayers are paying for that they literally have been exposing that they do nothing in. Basically, they're saying if they don't respond to this email saying what they did as of last week, basically what they got done last week, and they don't tell them, they're taking that as resignation. So if you don't respond to that email saying, hey, I did this last week, oh, you're out of there. That's I mean, you got to be able to explain that.
It shouldn't be that hard. You probably don't even have to go into extreme detail. It said just bullet points.
See, but the
It's not
thing,
asking for essay.
yeah, but the
But
thing
I
is,
did this, I did that, I did that, I did that.
All you got to do, Gronk, what I did this week.
Literally.
just gave them the formula, kind of. But I mean, if they did anything, some of them gonna have to make something up, bro, because they have literal buildings. I've been seeing them. I don't know why I can't find them right now. They have been posting buildings with people that taxpayers, like money that taxpayers pay for. People that are going around recording it from Monday through Friday. It has been empty, like multiple buildings,
Makes sense.
because they've been all going like working from home from COVID still.
Yeah. We knew that.
They have not been doing anything.
Can't say all of them ain't doing anything. You just say
Some of them possibly are.
they're
not.
just not at the office place where they could be more efficient.
Does that say 100 million to terrorist groups? Yeah, 165 million to terrorist groups.
What terrorist group is on there? I don't see. Is it because it says Islamic Relief? Can't say.
Oh,
it.
the Palestine.
Where is it at?
Is that it?
Reed Foundation, Todd's Foundation,
Palestine.
Interaction.
I ain't gonna lie, that's
I think they just mean all of these organizations are linked to terrorists because they just put 165 million. That's the total. So
American.
all of these things he's saying are linked to terrorism.
American Near East Refuge Aid.
Man, they pulled up the Haiti one from USAID. They said they did 4.4 billion to build homes out there, and only 6 homes was built. The Clintons was money laundering through that. Like that's like being a thing.
Those countries are so corrupt on so many levels that there's actually nothing you can do.
Yeah. So you telling me Haiti could have had money and they just left Haiti for more?
They gave
This was years ago. This is like years ago. 4.4 billion.
When they had the
too many
first
people are
hurricane,
too corrupt
the first
in the
earthquake.
government.
Yeah, they were taking that money. That was like a thing where the Clintons was taking money. That was like a
When was it the first earthquake they had? Like when it messed up the island real bad.
this is a few years ago. Like a couple years ago.
Elon saying is that the reason why they're doing this is because some people that work there are not checking their emails at all.
Oh wow.
Wow.
In some cases, we believe non-existent people or the identities of dead people are being used to collect people's paychecks. No, to collect or people are being used to collect paychecks. In other words,
So they're saying
outright fraud.
That's what they're doing. It's not even to really check up like, are you grinding? Do you exist?
But how would they not know that they're dead? Because when they
People
have
won't check their emails.
Knowing what they were doing with what was it? Not the IRS. What was that? Social Security? That could be possible.
But this is different.
Some
I
of
feel
them
like
were
a job.
50 years old.
I feel like a job would know if you die. When you have to like do
No, but
something.
they know.
Job would
That's what I'm saying.
absolutely know.
They're frauding.
Yeah, they
It's
take
a
their
form of fraud.
paying that salary and someone's scraping that.
This morning, chaos and confusion across the federal government. Elon Musk now downplaying the ultimatum he issued to federal workers: explain what you've done or resign. Musk initially posting on X, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. Those emails already going out. Sources tell ABC they ask employees to list 5 bullet points of what they've accomplished in the last week. The deadline to respond is tomorrow night. Several hours later, Musk posting, the bar is very low here. An email with some bullet points that make any sense at all is acceptable. Sources tell ABC top officials at the White House were caught off guard, and many federal agencies, from the State Department to NASA, are urging employees to hold off responding. Newly installed FBI Director Kash Patel telling employees to pause on responding to the email. When pressed, a White House official tells ABC it's up to each employee's manager to determine if the answers are satisfactory. And overnight, President Trump praising the latest moves from Musk.
Elon is doing a great job. He's doing a great job.
Taking a victory lap at the
Washington,
Conservative
D.C.
Political Action Conference, touting his mass layoffs of federal workers.
I've ended all of the so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across the entire federal government
Yes.
and the private sector.
I thought it was somewhere else.
I want to start with what Elon Musk did on Saturday, which is order all federal employees to list their accomplishments or basically be fired. Can he do that?
Well, no, he can't. Let's look at it a few ways, Martha. First, from a legal perspective, you have a situation where it is a complete overstep for him to be asking people, what did you do in the last week? And then use that as a basis to evaluate whether someone should be retained or fired. As with everybody's employment, things vary from week to week. And I think that if that went to court with an employee who was fired, if Mr. Musk and his minions didn't find what they did in the last week acceptable, there would be very little, if any, legal basis for them to be able to prevail, meaning the government. But secondly, as a former governor, too, from a management perspective, you can see what a clown car this is right now.
They're just trying to see the fraud.
Yeah, I don't understand.
They're not going to fire anyone for what they put on the bullet points. They're trying to see if you reply. They're trying to see if that a real person.
Yeah, I don't see why people are upset about this. But, I mean, they're upset about everything.
Yeah.
I can tell you what I did last week. Easy.
I mean, what if you were, like, think about anybody, a college student. You could, what 5 things you did last week?
That's
I
homework.
studied.
It's just the fact that they're so-called working from home. They're so-called working from home. So if you're working from home and you guys are getting paid on the weekend, y'all should be able to respond to an email about what you did during the week.
Welcome back. More fraud and abuse exposed as the Environmental Protection Agency reveals President Biden awarded $2 billion buried in the so-called Inflation Reduction Act to a climate group tied to one of his most loyal supporters and friends, former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams. The EPA now trying to claw that money back, which is part of a larger $20 billion held at an outside financial institution. The money distributed as part of the $739 billion Inflation Reduction Act that was passed by congressional Democrats and signed into law by President Biden in 2022. Joining me now is the EPA Administrator, Lee Zeldin. EPA Administrator Zeldin,
On the bond park, $20 billion in tax money. Okay, outside financial. Man, oh my God.
So it was off offshore bank accounts?
Oh my God. They are
So you
throwing
get
money
deep. You
around.
take it so deep so quick. We don't know yet.
It says
We don't know
outside
yet.
financial institute.
Yeah,
so.
that means they paid a taxpayer institution to taxpayer money to an entity that's not a government institution.
Ooh, Joe Biden.
Hey.
Joining me now is the EPA Administrator, Lee Zeldin. EPA Administrator Zeldin, great to have you this morning. Thank you for being here. I want to get your take on what you've been doing this weekend. So let me get to the Stacey Abrams money in a moment. Tell us what you've been able to do just in the last 2 days.
That's why they was on the streets.
Working with DOGE, we just cut another 21 grants heading towards DEI and environmental justice, saving the American taxpayers another $67 million. This is in our first round of cuts to find these efficiencies. So this partnership with DOGE has been outstanding. We want the EPA to be operating as efficiently as possible and exceptionally accomplishing our mission. We're on track.
Well, let's talk about this outrageous finding that you have had in terms of $2 billion stashed away in the Inflation Reduction Act and sent to Stacey Abrams' linked climate group. Tell me about it.
Maria, this group in 2023 only received $100. This isn't even like it's a longtime group that has some reputation of handling large budgets. They received $2 billion in 2024. On page 1 of the grant agreement, it tells them that they have 21 days to distribute all $2 billion. And on page 7 of the grant agreement, it is giving them 90 days to complete a training called How to Develop a Budget. I would say that any entity that needs training on how to develop a budget shouldn't be actually distributing money before they take that training, and they certainly shouldn't be receiving $2 billion to be distributing that rapidly. What we've seen is a lot of self-dealing, a lot of conflicts of interest, and instead of spending tens of billions of dollars wisely and maintaining accountability and having oversight, instead they were rushing to just, as they said in a December video that was leaked by a Biden EPA political appointee, they were throwing gold bars off the Titanic. We found the gold bars and we want them back.
Unbelievable. Wow. The money is being held at what? Citigroup? Why can't you get your hands on that money and claw it back?
This is something that the Justice Department's been working with Citibank on. There's a financial agent agreement with Treasury, an account control agreement with EPA and the primary recipients in the bank. But this is something that the Justice Department has been asking a lot of questions of us. I appreciate their diligence on behalf of the American taxpayer and working with our agency to ensure that we can reestablish that accountability and oversight over these funds. Had a great conversation last night with the president on the topic, again, with Russ Vought, our new head of the Office of Management and Budget. Multiple agencies working to ensure that this funding is not wasted. We're going to go through a process. Unfortunately, Citibank is cooperating with the Justice Department.
Mm-hmm. So was there criminality here?
$20 billion.
That's a question for the Justice Department to answer. I would say that it's a clear-cut case of waste and abuse. The entire scheme, in my opinion, is criminal. I'll give you one other example. There are only 8 primary recipients that received all $20 billion. I told you we're just discussing the Stacey Abrams link one that got $2 billion. The director of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund gave $5 billion to his former employer. So he leaves one of these funds, becomes the director of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, and then gives $5 billion to his former employer. I wish I could tell you that this was the end of it. We're talking about pass-throughs, giving to other entities. Many respects, those are pass-throughs. And the EPA, in writing, tying our hands behind our back to ensure that we would have as little oversight as possible.
Well, they flushed
wow. And you've got tons of rules and regulations that were put into effect under the Biden administration as it hid all of its regulations behind the whole cloud of environmental issues, right? I mean, at the EPA, how much cutting are you doing in terms of rules and regulations throughout government, by the way, not just the EPA?
President Trump campaigned on this. The American public spoke loudly and clearly, and the Supreme Court has weighed in too with the Loper Bright case. They don't want, and agencies should not, be coming up with their own interpretations of what law is. We should be following our obligations under the law. We should be respecting the rule of law. We should be advancing cooperative federalism. It's time to go back to the basics to ensure we are delivering clean air, land, and water, but we're also unleashing energy dominance in this country, and we are powering the great American comeback. That's the priority at the EPA under President Trump.
All right, Lee Zeldin.
They tried to assassinate my guy.
So did that woman literally pocket that money?
No way she pocketed $2 billion.
I just sent the video.
There's no way she pocketed $2 billion. There's just no way.
Hey, bro, it's $1 trillion. Go. What's $2 billion to $1 trillion? To $4 trillion.
You think one person pocketed $2 billion?
I mean,
they probably didn't, but
that just doesn't make sense. That's a lot of money.
They probably spread it around, bro. But they've been spreading it equally and real good because it don't make sense how they going from 200K to 200 million.
Yeah, they're insider trading. And they're doing all types of different fraud and corruption.
I don't think that's it,
$2 billion to one. What?
I don't think it's just insider trading, bro. They got to be taking some money, bro. They got to be taking something, bro. It's just no way, bro.
We know
that. You could know some real inside trading, and you possibly could get to about maybe 10 million, 200 million, 75 million, 100 million. Like let's pull it up again, bro. Like for real, man. Like it just doesn't make sense, bro. It don't make sense.
But you gotta realize, look how old they all are. They've been in politics for 20 years plus.
And you think that's all inside trading?
Hell yeah, all type of different fraud and corruption. Nancy for sure.
So you think if an NFL player been in the league as long as them, you think they'll have almost 200 million?
Yeah, and he'd also probably be fucking brain dead.
No, I'm just asking that question.
No, but the salaries are way different.
Yeah, their salaries are way different. Tom Brady made like $300 million.
I'm talking about the lowest player type, you know?
No.
If you're on a 53-man roster,
I don't know.
We know that we have to take action on climate. And unfortunately, I live in a state where the governor has been absolutely silent on his intentions. I intend to push for environmental resilience, and this is a bill that's going to help us do that. But overall, it's going to put money back into the pockets of Georgians, back into the pockets of Americans, and that's the kind of progress we need to continue to make.
It just seems like they pick an issue. It's like they planning, bro. They're planning, and their plan's folding right now because of Trump. That's why I think they really did try to assassinate him, bro. They had to, bro. They had to, bro. This was it literally without Trump. Right now, we would not know any of this crap.
We wouldn't.
So, like, I can see why they would be like,
straight to democracy.
My gotta get his ass.
I was watching the Avengers the other day. I was like, low key, Elon Musk is like a modern day like Iron Man without the suit and flying around.
This is crazy, bro. Oh my God, they're finding out so much, bro, and it's just the beginning, bro.